Hello, my name is TJ Quinn. I'm the culinary colonel here at Kettle Village, where we're always spreading happiness. Today I have a couple recipes I'd like to show you, all parts of one dish. It is a seared piece of salmon. That will be over a strawberry and feta couscous with oven roasted asparagus, and then followed up with a strawberry rhubarb gastrique, which is typically caramelized sugar and a vinegar reduction. Okay, for the first step, we're going to prepare our quinoa. What you want is a sauce pot with a lid. I'm going to actually be using a saute pan as the lid. You're going to throw in your extra virgin olive oil. Now, extra virgin olive oil has a very low flash point, which means that with a lot of heat, it can catch on fire. However, for this application, we're just going to be toasting the couscous inside of it. So we're going to throw that on, give it a little bit of heat. I have about 1 cup of couscous, which we're going to toast in this oil once it gets nice and hot. So you can hear the oil getting hot. We're going to throw our quinoa in there. See, it's kind of toasting a little bit. We're going to get that to it's actually toast. It's going to get a little bit brown. You'll start smelling a little bit of a nutty aroma. It's very important to stir or you can burn. You'll hear some cracking and popping. That's normal. It's going to take about 5 minutes to get it completely toasted. You can really smell the aroma coming through the toasted couscous right now. So this is about what you're looking for right here. See, it has nice golden color to it. Once you get right there, you're going to add your water all in one shot. 2 cups of water. You're going to bring that to a boil. Add a little salt and pepper, about a tablespoon of each. Once it comes to a boil, you're going to cover it up. I'm going to use a saute pan to cover it up, but you can use your pot with a lid at home if you prefer. And you're going to cover it up and turn it down to a simmer for about 5 minutes, and then you can turn it off and just let it sit on the stove. Next up, so the next thing we want to do is we actually are going to blanch our asparagus ahead of time. The reason we do that is it actually locks the flavor inside of the asparagus. So we're going to blanch it first, and then we're going to roast it. It's really important when you get asparagus that the bottoms of it are very woody, so you want to cut those off. I actually like to leave them rubber band like this. It keeps them all the same length for the most part. If you take the top and press it down, it makes for a nice presentation. So I usually go right above the bottom rubber band there, about an inch or two. These right here, you can just throw away. Actually, I leave these also just the way they are. It actually keeps them nice and organized, so when you lay them out, they're all the same direction, so you don't have to fish them out. So they actually blanch that way. And I'm going to remove this. It's going to be in there for about 2 minutes. And when we're done, we're going to go right into a mixing bowl where we're going to hit it with salt and pepper. And then we're going to lay it on a roasting pan where we can finish it off. Really, you're blanching, so you're just locking in those flavors. You're just looking for it to turn this really nice green color right here. The actual cooking is going to be happening inside of the stove. So at this point, we're going to remove our rubber band. Everything is in the same direction, which is nice if you're trying to plate something. You're just going to hit that with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, salt and pepper. And you're going to toss that with your hands a little bit. And put that on some type of tray that you can roast it in and hold that till later. The goal is to have everything done at the same time. So we're just kind of doing some preparations ahead of time. You'll be roasting that eventually for about 6 minutes. Next up, we're going to sear our fish. So for our fish, we're actually going to use 2 fats. We're actually going to use a blended oil that has a higher flashing point. As I mentioned before, extra virgin olive oil can catch on fire because it has a low flash point. So we're going to use a blended oil, olive oil, and some type of vegetable oil usually is what we use. And actually, though, we're going to actually put butter in it as well as a secondary fat. That gives it some flavor. I did not clarify the butter because I am looking for the nuttiness from the butter when it browns. So to start that up, first thing we want to do is get our saute pan hot. In the meantime, it's really important that when you're searing any type of fish, protein, whatever it is, that you remove any moisture from the outside of it, because otherwise what will happen is your meat, your protein will steam as opposed to sear, and we're looking for a nice sear. So I'm going to take my piece of salmon out here, and I already have it kind of in paper towels, but I'm actually going to jot it a little bit as well. And the presentation side is this side right here. The other side is the back of it. That would be where the skin was at. So we're actually going to sear that first, and we're going to season that up with a little salt and pepper a while. And on the other side as well, while our pot is getting hot. A little distance when you're seasoning is important for even distribution. First thing we're going to add is our oil. We're going to let that get hot, and once that gets hot, we're going to add our butter. So you can hear that jumping around a little bit. That's good. You want a little extra fat, and I'll explain to you why. We're actually going to baste the fish as it's cooking, so that way we can get that nice flavor on top of it as well as bottom of it, because we're going to be finishing this in the oven as well. So we're going to add our butter. Really want it to get hot because we do want to get a sear. It's important when you put this piece of fish on the pot, on the pan, you do get a nice level surface here. So we're going to put that down, and you can hear it. And the butter is browning, and that's normal. We actually want that flavor, so that's nice. I have what's called a fish spatula here. It's really nice and flexible. If you don't have one of those at home, that's fine. You just use a regular spatula. So again, I'm giving a little bit of a press. Just want to make sure it has a good contact on the surface. And we're looking for a nice brown sear. It'll really start to pick up the heat here in a minute. And then what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be basting the fish. This helps get that nice brown butter flavor all throughout. The reason we're adding a secondary fat is, it lowers that flash point of the butter. We don't want the butter solids to burn. So we're going to flip it over. As you can see, we got a really nice sear on that fish. That's what we're looking for. So we flipped it over. Once you flip it over, you can take your pot and you can just throw it right into the oven. We're going to finish it in the oven. Okay, so our fish is in the oven. It's going to be about, you're looking to cook that to 145 degrees. That's probably going to take about 7 to 8 minutes if you get a good sear on both sides. So in the meantime, we have about 6 minutes for the asparagus. We're going to pop that in the oven in a while too. We're going to get a nice roast on that, finish it off in the oven. Okay, now for our gas streak. The gas streak is something this is a very, very, very simple recipe. Typically it's with caramelized sugar, but being a Kitchen Kettle Village, we make many good jams and jellies. We're going to use our strawberry rhubarb jam. And we're also going to use our olive basin balsamic vinegar to make this. So what you want to do is you want to take your jam here. This is in place of the sugar, but because it is so viscous, we actually do want to break it down a little bit, so we're going to add a little bit of water to it, about equal parts water to jam. And use a little bit of a whisk to kind of break that up a little bit. Really all we're doing is kind of throwing a little bit of moisture into the jam to get more of that caramelized sugar consistency. We're going to let that cook for a little bit, and it's going to reduce, and it's going to start to caramelize a little bit. Really what you're looking to do is you're looking to bring this up to a boil, reduce it down, and you're going to kind of get it so it's almost like a reflection. It's called myrrh, so you're looking to kind of bring it down to that before you add the vinegar. You can see it's kind of starting to bubble a little bit. And this is about what you're looking for right here. We're going to throw in 2.5 ounces of vinegar. And that sauce is done. We're going to let that sit. In the meanwhile, we're going to put our couscous together. So our couscous is cooled now. As we dumped it onto a tray, we have it all nice and cooled down now, so we're going to throw it into a mixing bowl. When you remove this stuff, it's really important to not mess it. It's a little fragile, so I like to break it up, and you'll see I like to actually use either fold in the vinegar that we're going to be putting in, or a fork is nice as well, so we don't lose the integrity of the structure of the couscous. First thing we're going to do is we're going to add our, we're actually going to use mint balsamic. Lemongrass mint white balsamic from the olive basin to give a really, really, really nice fresh flavor. About 3 ounces in there, I believe. Again, I like to use a fork. The other thing you can use is a knife. Anything you don't want to, you just want to be able to kind of separate the grains. This is what I'm doing with this vinegar. It's kind of like when you make sushi rice. Have you ever done that before? Okay, so now that the grains are broken up within that, we can fold in our other ingredients. Got strawberries right here. Fresh strawberries. have our feta cheese as well. Something that'll be really nice, even though it's not in season right now, would be fresh basil would be good, or fresh mint, or both would be good as well. So now we can actually just kind of finish that off right there. And this is our first ingredient that's going to go onto the plate. Okay. So at this time, our fish is done, our asparagus is ready, so we can start assembling our dish. This can be served warm as well. I prefer it to be cold. It's a nice springtime dish. We are really trying to focus on asparagus, strawberries, rhubarb. That's really what's seasonal in the spring here. So we're going to put down our strawberry couscous. So we're going to put everything in the center of the plate, kind of build it up here. This time our fish is ready. And so is our asparagus. As you can see, really looking at that. One way you can tell with asparagus is the bend and snap like that. That's the way you can tell that it's really cooked. You can kind of, it shouldn't be like rubber, but it should have a snap to it. And that's exactly what you're looking for. So we're good there. So we're going to take our asparagus now. I'm going to go right onto the plate, right over top of the couscous. Just like so. Again, I like to keep everything facing the same direction. Put our fish on there. A little tamp with your spatula. And last but not least, we're going to throw our gastrique on there. Go a little bit over the fish. We're going to keep it fancy. We're going to go around the plate. And there's one little other thing you can do, which I like because it really plays there's a little bit of a sugar application, but it's balanced out with the acid. But what I like to do for something like this is as a garnish, keeping it something that's actually in the dish. So I'm actually going to caramelize or fillet these 2 strawberries to finish off the plate. I'm going to remove the leaves so they don't burn. So just dipping them in sugar. It'll really add a nice flavor. I know everybody probably has one of these at home. It's okay. You want to get a little bit of black in there. It's almost a really good flavor profile. It plays very well with the seared fish. Be careful not to burn your hands. Sugar's hot. For more recipes like this, log on to kitchenkettle.com and check